Hi guys, welcome to the next video of my Microsoft Fabric playlist. In this particular playlist, I'm trying to demo as many features of Microsoft Fabric as I can. Today, we'll see how a pipeline works in Microsoft Fabric. In my previous videos, I gave a short tour around the various parts of this Fabric platform experience. If you are new to this, then you can have a look to my previous videos or follow me along in this one. Pipelines are a part of Microsoft Data Factory experience that help you orchestrate and automate your data workflows. Here you can see that we have more than 170 plus connectors connecting to various data warehouses, SQL databases, even SharePoints as well. On top of these connectors, you can perform certain activities such as data movement, orchestration, transformations, and these can be done by the various services that are provided as part of this data factory experience, and data pipeline is one of those services, right? Um, Now all of this data resides in one lake inside Microsoft Fabric, and on top of that, AI powered intelligence is also embedded to each and every services at each and every part of your journey, right? Let's head over back to Microsoft Fabric. Pipeline is kind of a logical grouping of activities that together perform a task, right? So here you can see I am in a canvas of a pipeline, and you can see certain blocks being connected to each other. So in the data engineering world, we typically start our workflow by ingesting data, then transforming it or enriching it, and then loading it into a lakehouse, database table, warehouse, or other similar storage solutions. So this particular pipeline that you are seeing represents kind of a medallion architecture. A medallion architecture is nothing but a framework that most of the organizations today follow as part of their data platform journey, where you ingest the data into a bronze layer, basically dumping your raw data into a layer or a storage that's in one lake, and then performing some initial transformations on it, maybe removing some nulls, some duplicates, or any kind of small transformations that can range from simple to complex, and then create a silver data or a silver layer, right? So this is your cleansed layer, and then you can perform some business aggregations. Depends on your business and your requirements, you can perform some aggregations or create new columns or rename columns or any of those required transformations, and finally create your golden data here, right? Which will then reside in as a delta table or in your warehouse or in your storage as files or anything like that. Then this golden data is further sent over to used in Power BI, or maybe that is used for machine learning services, right? um, let's first understand what's the real use case of a pipeline with a real scenario. Let's say you are a retail company that needs to process uh, daily sales data from multiple sources, right? For each day you need to collect data from point of sale systems, your POS systems, online orders, and inventory databases. You then validate and clean the data to ensure accuracy, and you have to transform the data by calculating daily totals, applying business rules, and enriching with customer information. Then load the process data into your preferred data warehouse for reporting. uh, then after you have loaded into data warehouse, maybe you need to also alert the BI team, your business intelligence team, when the data is ready, so that they can create some reports and dashboards on top of it. So a pipeline automates this entire workflow. It runs on schedule, it handles errors gracefully, and provides visibility into each step. You get consistent and timely data processing without any manual intervention. So that is what is a pipeline is. Let's head over back to Fabric. So you can see these sets of blocks perform similar tasks to what I have shown previously in our typical real use case scenario. So we will just start with a basic pipeline. Maybe in the organizational setup in a real case, this pipeline might be similar to what you would be having, or maybe it will be much more simpler than this, having few blocks of activities, or maybe it can be more complex with some additional activities, some additional monitoring and notifications. So for now we'll just create a simple pipeline. So in order to do that, we'll first head over to our workspace. But before that, if you are not seeing this particular portal, you are not inside the Fabric dedicated homepage, right? You might be inside Power BI homepage, which you can see from this bottom left side, that I am right now inside Fabric. You might be inside Power BI homepage or view, which will look something like this. In order to go to the Fabric specific homepage, you need to click on this Fabric here, and you will come to Fabric here. Here you need to go to the workspace. I have a dev workspace already spun up. You can create more workspaces or your own workspace from this option here at the bottom, which says new workspace. You can give your workspace a name, some description, and select the Fabric trial capacity if you are on the Fabric trial capacity here. um, I have already created a workspace named dev for development. You will typically have multiple workspaces, each pointing to dev, prod, and test. And in an ideal scenario, you will be creating your pipelines inside the dev workspace, and thereafter you will be deploying the pipelines or notebooks or any other artifacts to the test environment, and thereafter it will be automatically deployed to the production environment, right? um, Workspaces should be created, keeping in mind the boundaries of your business logic. Maybe you have a sort of a sales data, marketing data. You will create maybe three workspaces for sales itself: sales dev, sales test, and sales prod, so that you can know distinguish them differently. That okay, in the sales dev environment is the place where you need to develop your solution, and you don't need to touch the production or the test environment, right? So for now, let's go ahead and create our first pipeline. So in order to do that, please click here on this new item on this left side top plus icon. If once you click that, it will open up this window where you can select the pipeline here. For me, I have just created a pipeline before, so it is pointing that inside this recents drop down option. But you can also get the pipeline from this get data category, right? So if you click on this collapse all option here, you can see there are many categories here. Each category will have its own set of activities or services that Fabric provides. For now, we should go in the get data category and click on this pipeline. So once you click on this pipeline, it will ask you to name the pipeline. In a typical organizational setup, the pipeline usually starts with PL underscore. So in order to adhere with the naming conventions, so for me, I'll just name it as PL underscore dummy, but for you, maybe you can name it to something else. Maybe this pipeline is ingesting data from your data sources. Maybe you can name it as source to raw, or from raw to cleansed and so on. For me, I'll just name it as PL dummy, and I'll be creating this pipeline in this particular workspace, which is dev. If you need to create this in a different workspace, you can do that by clicking this icon here and selecting your desired workspace, right? For me, I'm just selecting it dev, and we will create that. Just a moment. Yeah, so I'll create this pipeline underscore dummy, and we'll create this. um, Once you click this create icon, it will take you to the canvas of your pipeline, right? So this is the canvas of your pipeline, where you can see it is asking you to start with some guidance. Maybe it will guide you with some sample databases, but for us, let's start with a blank canvas. In the first impression, you can see that there are many options that are present here, like these tabs such as home tab, activity, run, and view. The activity section is where you get all the activities that you can perform inside a pipeline. That blocks that I was showing you before are all activities that you can select from this list, right? If you click on these three dots here, you will get another exhaustive list of all the activities that you can perform inside a pipeline, right? There are many activities which I will go one by one. Maybe in another video we'll just try to create a demo pipeline and see it in action. So for this particular video, I will create a wait activity. You can see a wait activity here. So this wait activity is a very a simple activity. Maybe you can use it in your use case where you need to wait for some seconds before you execute the next activity. So we'll use this particular activity to run the pipeline and see how the pipeline executes and all. So once I select this wait activity, you can see these two tabs present here because I have clicked on this wait activity. So if you click outside in the canvas area, you can see other global parameters, global values that you can use in your particular pipeline, such as this parameters, variables, settings, output, and library variables. Let's go one by one. First, let's click on this wait activity here. You can see that I have two tabs inside this, which is general. You can name the wait activity and add a description, which is a best practice to define what you want for this particular activity, what this activity actually does. If you see this activity state, it is selected as activated. um, so when you run the pipeline, it will actually run this activity. But if you don't want to run this activity, maybe it is connected to certain other activities and you don't want to run this particular activity, you can click on deactivate it. So it will just gray this out and it will skip this particular activity and run the other activities after this. So for us, we will keep it activated. Let's go to the setting tab. Here you can see that it is asking for input value, which is wait time in seconds. So I have just specified here 1 second. It will wait for 1 second, right? If we click outside the canvas, you can see various other options here: parameters, variables, and settings. We'll go through them one by one. Let us first run this particular pipeline with this just one activity. So in order to run this activity, you can go to this run tab here on the left side top, which says run, or else you can also run it by going to the home tab and you can see the run option here. Let's hit on run. Once you click on run, it will ask you to save this activity that you have added to this pipeline. So, and after that it will run it. So click on save and run. You can see that this notification tab starts blinking and you can see that it has saved your pipeline, and it is running this PL dummy pipeline, right? And also you can see in the output tab, by clicking outside, the output tab shows that this pipeline has started with its progress, the run start date, and the duration that it has run. Now we can see that it has completed, because obviously we have given it just 1 second to wait. After 1 second, it has done its job and completed and succeeded. So here you can see all the metadata related to this pipeline, like your pipeline run ID, what's the status, what was the duration for this, and even you can see many other metadata activities for this particular run, like by clicking this column options here. So you can see activity type, run, and activity run ID, and depends on your use case which all metadata what you want to see. um, Two main things of this run is this input and output. So if you click on this input icon here, you can see that the input that was provided to this particular activity, which is wait time in 1 second, which we gave before we ran the pipeline, right? And the output is nothing because it is just waiting. um, Now let's go to the parameters that we saw previously. If we click outside here in the blank canvas, we can see there is a parameters. So parameters make your pipeline flexible. You can pass different values when you run the pipeline, allowing the same pipeline to process different data sets or use different configurations, right? So if you click on this new, you created a new pipeline parameter, which you can maybe name as parameter 1, and you can see there are many different types of parameters that you can set. Maybe you can set it as a string parameter, integer, float, and boolean, depends on your use case. For me, this I want to pass a parameter to this wait activity. So wait activity is actually taking the time in seconds, so maybe I want to pass it 2 seconds, right? So if I set this parameter type to integer and I give a value of 2, and let's use this parameter in this wait activity. So after I have created this parameter here, I'll click on this wait activity, and in the wait time, if I click this, I can see that add dynamic content option is visible here. If you click this add dynamic content, it is going to give you the option to use your pipeline expression builder. So this provides interface where you can use various system variables or parameters that we have just defined right now, which is parameter 1. Maybe there are some inbuilt system variables where you want to use. I'll go through all of this list in a different video. You can use some trigger parameters, some functions. So these are many functions that you can use inside your expression, so that you can create something dynamic with some static value, or create something dynamic individually while running the pipeline, and pass it to your activity or the other activities, connected activities as well. So for us, we'll just use this parameter activity. So I'm going to just click on this parameter. Once I click this, you can see that it populated here automatically, that it is going to take the value of this parameter 1 from the pipeline parameters. So this part is the pipeline parameters, and it is going to take parameter 1 specifically. So I click on OK. So you can see now this has become a dynamic value. It is no longer showing that 1 second, and it should take this 2 seconds from the parameters outside. Let's run this and see. So in order to run this, you can obviously click on the run icon here. I'll just click on this run icon from this run tab here. So again, save and run. We can see from our notification that it has saved that, and your pipeline is again, so after that it will ask you one more time that you whether you want to use this parameter or not. So here also you can again change this to 3 or 4, maybe some other values, but it allows you to dynamically change this parameter once again just before running. So we'll keep this as 2 and click on OK. So now it will start the pipeline once again, and with the output tab we can see the progress. So now you can see that it has went into queued state. You can click on this refresh icon and see that this pipeline succeeded. So in order to see that whether our parameter was successfully passed to this wait activity or not, we can click on this input here. So if you click on this input, now you can see that we have passed it 2 seconds from here, right? uh, and the output is nothing. And that thing which I showed you earlier, when you click on the run icon, it will ask you whether you want to change it at runtime. So if we pass it 3 and click on OK, right? So let it run. We'll go to the parameter section. You can see that it is still 2, and it is and the pipeline is running. Let's see if it has taken 3 right now, because we gave it 3 before running. If you go to the inputs here, you can see that the wait time is now 3 seconds, right? So parameters can be given like this, that you can define as many parameters as you want for all your activities within your pipeline. And there is this variables as well. So variables store temporary values during pipeline execution. You can use them to pass data between the activities, or make decisions based on runtime conditions. So these variables are useful within the pipeline activity. You cannot pass these variables from outside of the pipeline. It will be used inside only. These parameters that you create here, these can be passed to the pipeline from outside as well, which I will show you in upcoming videos, how these parameters are flown from outside of the pipeline. Maybe this pipeline is calling to some other pipeline, and these values can be passed to them, right? And here in the monitor type on the left side, you can see your pipeline executions that has happened, your pipeline runs. So you can see we have run our pipeline dummy pipeline 3 times, and you can see all of those runs over here, right? And let's go back to our PL dummy pipeline. So yeah, this is one of the cases where a pipeline is executed end to end. And there are some best practices Microsoft recommends while orchestrating these pipelines, which is like start simple, begin with the basic data movements, and gradually add complexity to it. So like we saw in the production, like one of the pipelines that I showed you in the beginning, like this pipeline, it is a bit complex because it is adding more and more activities as needed, so it becomes more complex. So initially you should start with just a basic activity and then add on as per your requirements. um, Definitely use parameters, because parameters make your pipelines reusable. By parameterizing your connections, your file paths, or anything, you are maybe connecting to a data source, and it has multiple tables in it. So you don't want to create 3 or 4 pipelines just to ingest those 3 or 4 tables. You can create one common pipeline, create some parameters here like the table name, and then iteratively go over all the tables in one single pipeline, right? So that's how the parameters will be used, and I will also explain this in one of the other videos. And obviously you should also handle errors in your pipeline. Plan for failures with retry logic and alternative processing paths. So these you can do in your pipeline as well. And you should monitor regularly, like we saw here. You should monitor your review your execution times and optimize slow running activities. Maybe this was running 5 minutes daily, but suddenly on a day it is running 30 minutes. So you should always keep an eye on this and see what is happening, and maybe optimize your pipelines. And obviously you have to validate your pipeline. So you can see that here in the run section, also in the home tab, you can see this validate icon here. Even in the run tab there is a validate. So this valid, if you click on this validate, it will do a basic sanity check or a validation check that all of your activities adhere to the settings that you have provided, or it is ideal for it to run. um, I will show you an example of this validation failing. So if we go to this wait activity here, let's remove this parameter as of now. And in the wait time, if we provided 0, right? If you provided 0 and then click on validate, you can see that it has failed, and it says that wait time in seconds cannot be 0. It has to be a minimum value of 1. So these kind of validations it performs when you click on this validate option here. And then you can obviously select the schedule option here, which is scheduling your pipeline. In the schedules, click on this add schedule, which will help you set up a schedule for your pipeline. Maybe you want it to run every minute, maybe you want it to run hourly, daily, or weekly, depends on your project's requirement. You can configure further settings for this case. Maybe you can provide the start time and the end time of this execution, and also the time zone here, right? um, you have two different flavors of schedule here, which is the fixed one and the interval based. So interval based is based on a frequency on your pipeline execution, right? And here, once you click on this schedule, you can also see other options such as about this pipeline, the description that you have provided, who created this and when it was created. Endorsement, like endorsement is your promoting your pipeline for others to see you. By promoting this pipeline, or maybe you can click on this certified when you have the right permissions in your Fabric workspace. For me it is grayed out right now. You can promote this particular pipeline so that others will understand that okay, this pipeline is good and can be trusted. So that kind of endorsement or governance capabilities on your pipeline, you can set it, right? So yep, this is all about running, creating your pipeline and running it end to end. In my later videos, we will now create more complex pipeline. Maybe we'll go ahead and create a copy data activity like this, which will take in a source. Maybe that source will be ADLS, a destination, which can be a delta table in your one lake, which closely resembles to what the teams are doing today in the modern data engineering platforms, right? So that's all for this video. Thank you for having view to this. See you later. Bye.